Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the General Manager of Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Dennis Michalis.
Hey there, how are you? Thank you. Thanks for that. Hopefully, we're not having that mid-afternoon, post-lunch blue session right now. Hopefully you're feeling energized by the next session thereafter. Before we get started, again, my name is Dennis, and I sincerely want to thank you for the investment in time and money that you have put into this event. You have effectively left your business in your home. You may be connected to your business and home electronically in some way, but you've physically departed, many of you, and you've come a long way. And being away from family is never a big treat, maybe for some. But we do appreciate the fact that you've made this time to be with us, and we're very grateful. And in exchange, we'd like to bring you a lot of value in the kind of discussions that we can have together. So welcome, settle in, let's put some thinking caps on, and I want to share some thoughts with you. We've got a wonderful amount of information to share and also some things to show, and hopefully it'll spark some new imagination and, in fact, give you some different perspective. And we very sincerely entitled this presentation today, this time together, as The Power of Possibilities. But it's not just the power of possibilities. For me, it's all about perspective. And perspective shift can be a very powerful thing. And we believe that CRM is a vehicle to perspective shift. And the crux of the matter is this. We are engaging in an effort to really provide a sequence of events, a vehicle to arrive at the following. We want to give you new perspective of CRM, a whole new way of looking at CRM. And in turn, we think that, in fact, we don't think it, we are confident you are going to see your customers in a new light. You'll have a new perspective of your customers through that new perspective of CRM. And here's the really wonderful thing. We're absolute believers that your customers will have a new perspective on you. It's that sequence that we're working towards. It's that kind of foundation that we're investing in. But we can only do it, really, and in my opinion, and the team that I am so fortunate to work with all the time, by taking a good hard look at where we've come from. We can't just race ahead, race ahead, race ahead. You get tunnel vision. You get kind of lost. And we've all been in those intense projects where it's just the next thing in front of you, and you're building technology for technology's sake. It's not always that way. It could be for projects. It could be for people. But you do need to pause. You do need to take a moment and think about where we come from. Now, for me, it's always been important to understand the roots of technology, certain kinds of technology, technology that fuels us today. I find it very ironic that we're here in Houston at one of the spiritual homes of the space race. It's very easy for us to see some tangible outcome from the space race, and I really want you to think about some perspective that was born from that. Now, the Cold War, as terrifying as it was for all of the world, and the way it was played out in the theater of the world, really did produce some amazing things. It's hard to believe. I can put that in a positive light, right? But it is true. So the Cold War is an interesting function. It was two superpowers vying for superiority on the world stage, but not directly conflicting, not directly confronting one another. Should they have done that, Russia and the United States would have assured their mutual annihilation, and certainly everybody else's. So really, the battle became a show of might, a show of superiority, a show of sheer strength and an ability to overpower the other. And it really shifted from just pure arms buildup and that kind of muscle building to the space race. And it really culminated in Sputnik. That was the catalyst moment that terrified the world the most, certainly terrified the United States. But that satellite going up into space, 1957, was an absolute signal, a game changer, and they were up there. And that was totally threatening. It was crisis-making. Certainly we responded. They had their rocket scientists that they stole from Nazi Germany. We had ours. They had rockets. We had rockets, etc. And we got into an orbit through artificial means as well around the world. Nevertheless, it really sparked innovation. Huge amounts of R&D spending were being poured into the space race on both sides of the equation in terms of superpower positioning. And the reason I share that comment with you is clearly in the keynote, we really try to impress upon you the size and the might of the R&D spend from Microsoft's perspective. It truly is profound. I won't belabor that point, but I will point out to you from a historical context perspective, 50 years ago, as an example, the United States government outspent private enterprise nearly 3-to-1 in R&D. Now think about that. The government was the one pouring the money into research and development, spurring on that innovation, and creating the spin-off effect of technologies that really all of us get to use today. 40 years ago, it was at par. Government and private enterprise were about spending the same. Today, this is the United States now. Today, private enterprise outspends the U.S. government 4-to-1. All this is laid out in a really fascinating article in the Harvard Business Review, the current one on the market shelves today. I think that's really important for us to pay attention to. It is private enterprise that is taking a lot of what was solid technologies born from the Cold War and the space race, but all kinds of new technologies coming from that. Now, a couple of case in points, just to give you a sense of how I look at this perspective shift. Sputnik, as a satellite, yielded a tremendous amount of investment in satellite technology. Since then, since 1957, 6,500 or more satellites have been sent into space. 6,500. There's roughly 500 to 700 satellites in active duty right up above us right now. And there's all kinds of uses for them. Also, from an internet perspective, pre the Cuban Missile Crisis, we had all of our, basically our networked computers in the United States anyway, were on a spoken hub. There was one main controller. It got us thinking, right? From a United States perspective, it got us thinking very hard about hub and spoke versus decentralized, and perhaps a node environment is safer because it can't be taken out by one missile strike. You've got to avoid that. And so the crises that really was framed as famous from a John F. Kennedy perspective in the way he used this Chinese symbol for crisis. If you've ever seen that, two elements put together, danger and opportunity. Danger and opportunity brought together. So this Cold War function and the fuel poured into that from an R&D perspective really created two very important technologies and numerous other spin-offs. But if you think about who amongst us have not leveraged satellite and internet together to open up a browser session, pull up a map, and take a look at our neighbor's backyard? All of us have done that, right? It gives us a capability, and it has come so far. If you think about the years since the Cold War, it has absolutely changed the way we look at how we can leverage everything from a technology perspective and a communication perspective, and certainly from the customer perspective. Now, before I go real hard into other parts of some thoughts I want to share with you, I want to separate what, from the space race in particular, I think is an important statement, achievement, which we're all focused on, from perspective shift. To me, this is achievement. This represents a big goal set and a big goal met, and then more important innovation thereafter. But a perspective shift looks like this. This is called Earthrise. And it was actually the year prior to landing a man on the moon. It was the Apollo 8 mission, 1968. They weren't even expecting to find this per se. The mission control commander, if you've ever come across the transcript from the mission, they literally were scrambling for color film because of what they saw in front of them. They were up there on a scientific mission. They were gathering evidence. They were taking in information, and it was all going to be in black and white. And you literally hear it in the transcript, oh my God, look at that. And they're scrambling to get the photograph. And the more important aspect of this, really, and I want you to think about your customer and how you're approaching the customer equation with CRM. For the world, this became the most significant and powerful symbol of environmentalism. Still is today. Considered that broadly by all constituencies involved with environmentalism. It is, in fact, one of the kernels behind envisioning a new future. It gave us the first view, oh my gosh, beyond our outward view of the world, we now had a more comprehensive 360-degree view of the world. And those technologies from the Cold War, They continue to fuel our understanding of the world and its changing nature. That is 360-degree understanding. And so I ask you, what is your Earthrise? What is your Earthrise when it comes to your customer perspective, and how can we get you there? And so we're so focused on how we can propel that. It's got to come first, though, from us having a vision about where we can go. And it absolutely ties into what Carol and certainly what Kevin Turner shared earlier today in the keynote about a dynamic business, a business that transforms. Now, in the CRM context, that really means for us, we've absolutely got to focus on that individual, that icon there, the person with the heartbeat. We focus on that impassioned individual. How can we give them tools and capabilities and applications and connectedness to help them drive it forward? It starts with that individual, and it progresses on to teams, and then to whole organizations, and to communities, and so forth. We absolutely focus here, and we're dead set on we're going to make that transformation happen through a dynamic business. It's that orientation of ours. But it gets more concrete. We have to match that aspirational goal of helping companies become dynamic businesses with what are the big trends in CRM? What do we have to pay attention to? And if you are not today, as a business, focused on these big trends when it comes to CRM, heck, in general, you do need to start very aggressively. Get educated on this. We want to help do that. We want to be a part of that educational foundation. We certainly want to be a part in how you actually arrive there. Many of you have already gone pretty big here, but these are the biggies. You can't go anywhere and have a professional discussion about CRM without touching on big data, on social, both internal and external, and the blend of the two, on cloud, and on mobile. But the foundation has to be deeper and more rich capabilities within CRM as well. They all work together, as they should, in terms of concept. And really, this is how we approach the equation. So that dynamic business and transformative aspiration meets the big trends in CRM, and we arrive at what we believe is a whole new or a reimagined CRM. A reimagined CRM, what do we mean by that? It goes part and parcel with a new perspective on how we accomplish things, on how we can focus on specific elements of CRM. Business productivity goes right into the core of how we expect to help individuals do a better job, how we can help individuals be more efficient, and really just enjoy the experience. Have a good time using the software. Make it just the way it should feel. Make it a natural act, not make it hard, not make it unintuitive or counterintuitive, but make it just easy. So we're very focused on that. And that ties into consumerization. The experience that you can have off the shelf in a retail store, the kind of devices you want to work with, the way that those devices actually lend themselves to certain acts. Gaming teaches an awful lot as well in terms of how we can learn, how we want to compete, how we want to actually involve ourselves in the game. All of that is born from consumerization in a certain respect. We also focus very much on process and industry. My slate's beeping. Process and industry focus means we absolutely need CRM to sing in the way that companies, businesses, organizations compete today in different industries. How do they need to change? How do you need to change your business? What are the trends in your industry? What are the compliance issues? What are the customer pressure points? How are they asking you to do things differently, faster, with more information for them? We have to focus on helping that. And that, in the CRM context, it really does mean turning CRM into more of a way to get sharp along industry lines. Proactive BI and analytics. It complements the big data trend. Big data can be born from putting data in. Big data can be born from external sources, whether you're enriching records from a data source. Could be born from ERP data flowing in, financial data flowing in, inventory data flowing in. Whatever it is, you're still capturing tons of information in CRM, and you need to understand the trends. We're very focused on this, and this has got to be a mainstay pillar in the way you look at CRM and the way we want to help you get there. We talked a lot about cloud in the keynote. Certainly the bet for Microsoft is very big. We sustain our power of choice, though. You want it on-premise? Have it on-premise. You want CRM in the cloud? Have it in the cloud. You want a hybrid model? Take it the hybrid model. You want to cross over at another date? Let it be. But cloud has to be something we very aggressively develop and mature and drive. It's certainly something that's becoming more and more sophisticated as the days go on. We have to help reimagine CRM in that context. And finally, it's just the iterative process. The lower right box there is just more frequency of more value to you. Now, you could challenge the cadence that we've gone on record with twice a year. We're going to add value. We're going to make more functionality available twice a year. Is that enough? Is that too much? We're driving. We're making it happen. We're putting it in your hands. We need to start this new rhythm with you. It's relatively young, but it's definitely the direction we're going. But you've got to know you're in a safe home. In terms of what we've done over the last year, 30% year-over-year growth is really, really positive. All I'm trying to do is express to you the idea that from an investment, and we try to be investment grade in everything we do when it comes to CRM, you have a safe home. Look at the community you are a part of. 2.25 million users, 33,000 companies, many of which are choosing cloud, but they keep coming. 7.5 years of double-digit growth, quarter on quarter on quarter on quarter. No let-up. We're driving up. We're building out this community. I hope you're a part of it. I hope you're joining the discussion. I hope you're leveraging your colleagues out there, no matter where they're from in the world. You really are a part of something special here. And your ability to collaborate with anybody in this community is very important to us. But it's a safe home. And these are the kinds of industries that call it a safe home. You may be a part of these. You may be a part of other industries as well. The idea is that, first, we're extraordinarily proud of this. This is hard-fought and won business, and we really appreciate it. We want to do more, but it's exciting to understand how we're starting to amass strength by industry, how we're helping companies confront challenge and go to new places. But in the end, I know you really don't want to hear it from me. I'd rather you hear it straight from some people just like you. So, and I ask you to do me a big favor. Please give a very warm round of applause. We have two guests, two customers come up and join us today to tell us about their stories. I've got Carla Rollins and Russell Schiabetti. Let them hear it, folks. Hey, Carla. Thank you. Russell, welcome. Welcome. So, two very interesting companies, Safety Clean and the New York Jets. We try to get them to be as far apart as possible. We've said some comparison and contrast. So, Carla, maybe we can start with you. Can you help us understand the Safety Clean business today?
Well, Safety Clean is a billion-dollar environmental services business, and we are North America's largest re-refiner of used oil. So when you go in and get your oil changed at Jiffy Lube, we pick that up and we re-refine it, and then we sell it as new oil, and it saves the economy, 85% of the energy it would take for crude oil.
So it sounds like a somewhat sophisticated operation, big accounts.
We've got about 270,000 active customers and about 4,000 employees, so it's a pretty big operation.
Okay. And how about you, Russell? What's the business like today for the Jets?
Well, the Jets are one of 32 professional franchises in the National Football League, a very highly visible brand in the sports and entertainment world. We just opened a brand new stadium in 2010, which was a big achievement for us. We have over 6 million fans in the New York metro area alone, and that number will grow even larger when you consider the rest of the country. We have about 150 full-time employees, plus seasonal staff as well. And our stadium seats 82,000 every weekend. Okay, so that's good framing. I understand that. So let's start with challenges. Carla, you face some pretty significant challenges. We've had a number of conversations about this. Tell us about it. Frame it out.
The sales force hated me. That's the bad part. And it's really true, because with our previous CRM solution, they kept crying for integration, and we had them in up to 6 different applications to put in new customers, enter their quotes, pick up their hot leads. And integration was a nightmare for me. And it was so hard, and I could never tell them how long it would take or how much money it would take. And so I started waking up in the middle of the night to update my resume.
Doesn't sound like a rosy picture at all.
It wasn't good.
How about you, Russell? What were the kind of challenges that you were confronting?
For us, it's really twofold. On one hand, the industry was changing. Everyone for years had viewed sports as recession-proof. But the way the economy has changed in the last few years, competing for share of everyone's entertainment dollar, that's not the case. So the old-fashioned ways of doing things, which are much more just ticketing and box office oriented, doesn't work anymore. So we knew we needed to engage our customers in a lot more depth and provide more value to them. On the other hand, as I mentioned, we opened a brand new building, a $1.6 billion stadium in 2010, and we needed to move all our customers into that building. So this is a once in every 40 or 50 year opportunity. So something like that comes up, you really need to make sure you can execute on it.
So you have a changing landscape in the way you do business, but also this big impending event where you got to get it right.
Absolutely. You only have one opportunity really to do it.
It could be a train wreck. So Carla, for you, you confronted the challenge. With Dynamics CRM, you actually went full steam ahead, and you made a lot of changes both in how you looked at the economics of the equation, but also who was using.
We have such a great story, and we chose a great partner, Power Objects. We put in the system in 90 days.
90?
Including all of the conversion and all of the integration points. But the really wonderful thing is we were able to double the number of licenses, so that meant that not just our sales personnel, but also our service personnel and our support personnel could all have a view of the customer, the same view of the customer. And we saved $500,000 a year on top of that.
So you saved $500,000, plus you added users, plus you're gaining that new perspective.
And we cut down the admin burden on the sales force.
How's the resume polishing?
Better. It's better, yeah.
But how's the sales force feeling?
The sales force is so much happier with the solution. The time it takes them is quite a bit less. Their administrative burden is less. And I think they've got a real view of all the touch points with the customer.
Okay, cool. Russell, I mean, the two sounds big. Let's move the whole family from one home to another. And in the meantime, let's get really good at how we touch them.
Yeah, so ultimately, I mean, we bring in Dynamics. We bring in a platform that's going to let us both handle sales and service and retention, which is key because that level of engagement information that we needed just wasn't there beforehand. So with this platform in place, we bring in a sales staff and we migrate everyone from the old building to the new building, putting them in the optimal place for their experience, but also a revenue opportunity for us. We then launch our first new business campaign that the Jets really have ever done, outbound calls, emails, and direct mail. All that's managed within the system. And now year-over-year retention as well, renewal campaigns, all in there. So with this tool, we've been able to sell out the new building. Every game's been sold out since we opened the new stadium.
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations on that. It almost seems like in compare and contrast, Carla, you had a pretty intense inward focus in terms of how the business was equipped. For you, I think in some of our earlier conversations, it seemed like it was much more outbound, but the combination of you ramping up the sales teams and having a new engagement model certainly seems like it's a little bit of a combination of the two. Yeah. So for you, Russell, where are you going next?
For us, it does come back to that external, the fan engagement. We do a very good job tracking all of our communications, our email, and our phone calls, but we know it's well more than that. So for us, it's digital and social. Being able to bring that information into the system. We love engaging our customers that way, but if I can bring it into the system and make it measurable and actionable, that's ultimately going to help us drive more ticket revenue, drive merchandise, provide value to our sponsors, and also be a huge asset for customer service year over year.
That sounds really cool. I mean, you really have a grip on what the pressure points are and how strategically you're changing the game. I love that. Yeah. Carla, how about you? What's next? What are the big things you're going to tackle?
Well, with the new tool, we're able to do a lot more rapid innovation, and we've already started to use it to roll out our national account launches. And we won back a major national account customer that we had lost because of customer service before by using the new tool.
That had to be a big moment to celebrate.
That's huge.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And as far as what we're doing going forward, we want to get more mobility tools into the hand of the sales force. And then we would like to use Microsoft Link in conjunction with CRM and really reach out to our customers and provide a better pipeline for our big national customers to get to us more easily.
So Link, unified communications direct with the customer beyond your four walls.
Correct.
And they're asking for that.
No.
You're putting it on them.
Well, we think it's going to be a great competitive advantage. Our competitors are not doing that, and I think being accessible to our really important customers is going to set us apart.
Oh, that is really interesting. Well, I definitely want to stay in touch with both of you on that. That's a really interesting new angle on how you're transforming the business, Russell. Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Let them hear it, people. Thank you very much. Thanks, Carla. I I love hearing those customer stories. I mean, this is just 2 examples, and I know there are literally hundreds and hundreds in this room. And those are the kind of things that we can learn from. And it's ultimately, it's how we are architecting our rapid innovation future ourselves to do more. I mean, the fact that Carla is rolling out something our customers aren't asking for it, but she's putting a direct communication pipe in, that's something we want to stay on top of and learn from, frankly, because it's real life. So in that context, we're going to expand on, I went backwards, I went forwards. I had it upside down. How about that? I'm looking at this, where am I going, man? We want to talk about what's coming next. Our next service update, which is imminent, weeks away, is extraordinarily important. And it is entitled CRM Anywhere. And if you think about those big trends that I mentioned in CRM and how we want to reimagine CRM, these are the pillars of this next service release. This is just what we're bringing out this current spring, and there's more to come then in the fall, which was talked about in the main stage today. We've got brand new capabilities in mobility, brand new capabilities in cross-browser, any browser you'd like to use. Social is something we've started in the fall and we continue to invest in. There's going to be more to come there again in the fall. And our industry focus, as I mentioned before, templates that help more acceleration into usage and different use patterns. The leverage of SQL Server and the strength of the analytics engines that come with SQL Server, absolutely fantastic and something we want to show you today. And finally, certifications. Focus on ISO, focus on EU model clauses and so forth. I mean, these are really strong ways to say your data and your business is safe in the cloud. We can demonstrate that through third-party verifications and so forth. You don't really want to hear this all from me, though. We'd rather show you, and to do that, I've got a very special guest in Craig Dewar. Craig, would you mind coming up here and helping us out? Please welcome Craig Dewar. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
What do we have on our hands today?
Well, I have 4 separate things to show. I have a little bit to show on our mobile client that's coming out in this release, the BI stuff, and then we'll move on to some social announcements.
Let's get it going.
Let's get it going. So everyone, I have an iPad up here with me.
An iPad.
I feel a little dirty. It's a first for the Microsoft presenter here, but I know some of you make that choice. And we want to make sure that whatever the choice you make, you can get the value of CRM on the device that you are using. So we have a new mobile offering. It's going to be available on iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, and also, of course, my favorite, Windows Phone. It's a very rich and immersive application. It has full support for all the things that you like to do inside of CRM, regardless of what role you're in. Here I'm in the role of a salesperson. You might remember from the demonstration this morning, I was a salesperson on the shop floor of a retail environment. I've moved on.
You're just the inner salesperson is coming out all day long.
Now I'm an account manager, spending a lot of time on the road with the next echelon of accounts, and I'm using my mobile device for that. You can see I've got my dashboard environment, but I also have full access to the typical CRM information that I would expect to have as I move around. So my accounts, contacts, leads, and so on. We've actually done a very good job of integrating into all the native capabilities that a device provides. So, for example, if I'm on one of my phones and I actually click to call a contact from here, we can actually integrate straight into the dialer of that phone. We'll ask you, do you want to track this activity in CRM? And if you say yes, we'll record how long the phone call was, we'll attach it as an activity and put that back into the account record and so on. So really we've tried to take advantage of that richness. A simple example here is, of course, if I go and click on an email address of a customer from CRM, I'm taken into the email client and I can do my email work and then switch back to CRM whenever I'm ready.
So every bit of it just looks and feels like native functionality from that device.
Yep, all the way through mapping, GPS, all that capability natively in there. So now, of course, I am a salesperson who wants to go and open an opportunity here. So I just wanted to show you that I can come and add a new opportunity. And let's type some stuff in here. Oops. Let's give it a price. I'm very scientific here.
This makes a big upside, man.
All right, so what I wanted to show you was getting to this point where I've saved that opportunity, and you can see a little banners coming up to say not yet synchronized. The important thing about this mobile solution, or one of the important capabilities, is it doesn't require a network connection to run. It's not a browser, it's a real application. And so it actually has synchronized data here offline, and as I edit that and change it when I don't have a network available, next time I synchronize, that data will go back to my server. So it's very straightforward for me as a user. I don't think about any hard networking stuff. I just do my job and it all works in the background.
So if you're on a train with spotty reception or a short plane ride or in some part of the world where roaming fees are exorbitant, you can work disconnected and then get it synchronized when it's appropriate.
Absolutely. Just very easy for me.
like
There's
that.
a button to sync. I won't sync now because it just, it's not a lot of fun watching a sync happen, but I just wanted to show you one final thing on the mobile client, and that's the idea of the concept of enterprise IT management. So we've spent all the time, apparently I'm meant to be going somewhere important.
Get on that account, man. Get out there.
We've spent all of our time talking about the user side of the equation, but there's just equally a set of rich applications inside of CRM for the management of this. So you can choose how to take data mobile, what data, how it gets synchronized. You can wipe devices remotely if you need to. So we've really taken the best of the user experience and married it with enterprise class IT into one hosted offering that works with CRM online or CRM on-premise, and you'll have it in your hands in just a few short weeks.
It's fantastic.
So that's mobile.
Cool.
Let me switch to this PC here.
So what if I said, hey, you did a really good job as a salesperson today. First you're working the retail floor, now you're out running and gunning in the field. I got to move you to management.
I'm happy to take the promotion, Dennis. Here I am in
Calm,
management.
so serene, like a swan.
So, of course, the first thing I want to do in management is spend my time analyzing the performance of the people who used to be just like me and making sure I kind of hold them accountable. And so what I'm showing you here is a new capability that we're making available where we've created a very rich BI canvas that enables normal human beings like me to actually come in and do analysis and pick out trends without having to dig through a lot of underlying numbers. So this is a product or sales view. We have customer service ones and other types available as well. I have my territories, I have my product lines, I have my sales by month, I have the performance of the sales team, and then I have some sort of quarterly numbers. Now this is interactive. If I select on any one of these, it will basically reorient all the other quadrants in that canvas, and it will scope the data down so it's just that particular set that I'm looking at. And this could be very large data sets that I'm working on. I just have to click one more time if I want, and I can again bring all the data sets back to their default amount. Now I want to spend time on the sales team, seeing what's going on there. So I'm just going to drill into that quadrant so I can easily focus my time into a particular area. Now you'll notice I have sort of a video playing type thing down the bottom here. And this is actually interactive information. So just so you know what you're looking at, we're looking at the average deal size here. We're looking at the time throughout the year on this timeline here. And we're viewing the sales cycle with the size of this bubble. So we're looking at how well our team does at closing different size deals at different sort of time frames. And we have a methodology about how we want to track those things so we can see how well they're tracking against the methodology. So I can go ahead and play this animation, and I can watch it, and I can actually look for outliers that might be cropping up based on all the real CRM information in my sales part of the system. Why is this interesting? Well, because as human beings, we're much better at seeing outliers in data with a visual trend, something that jumps out in one direction or the other, than we are at looking through pages of numbers. And you'll notice that this guy, Kevin Spark, as we were moving through it, was sort of jumping outside the norms compared to others. And so I can go back to any point in time and take a look at it, or I can choose to just focus on him just by selecting him. So now you can see all the data points that sit behind Kevin, and as we actually move this around, you'll see it takes the data points out across time.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Or it puts them back. So he was doing okay at the beginning.
This poor guy can't hide.
He can't hide. As we got through the year, he became increasingly erratic. I sort of know how that goes, actually. And so now I can actually sit down with this guy and have a fact-based discussion about the information we're seeing in terms of his performance in following the sales methodology. It's one small example. There's lots of others. In customer service, we might be looking at the performance of multi-channel. We might be looking at, time taken to close calls, et cetera, et cetera.
Really, I can see how this applies across the broad spectrum of CRM.
Absolutely.
Sales, marketing, analytics, internal, external collaboration measurement. It's really endless.
It's going to be a game changer for our BI and reporting.
What if I needed to make a presentation? How can I not go through all the manual process of I copy my spreadsheet, I paste it into PowerPoint, I gussy it up a bit, I put a title on it, I resize it?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have an option up here that says export to PowerPoint. So literally, I can just say export to PowerPoint, and it creates an interactive presentation for me where this same view with all the data that I can click into is directly inside of a PowerPoint. And so the cool thing about that, you're giving your presentation, someone like Dennis calls you out on the number, right? You can literally just click into the data live and say, no, actually, I can show you right here why that's really true. So really, we're trying to make it really as useful as we can for people and really bring that interactivity to the
We're taking
fore.
back minutes and hours off lost time in our lives, people. It's super important to me. It's got to be for everybody. I mean, I've lived those miles. This is great.
So let's change gears.
Please.
And we've talked about a couple of things in R8. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with social and some interesting work that's happening with some of our key partners. So social, there's a lot of talk going on at the event about it and in the market in general. We've obviously got a lot of different communities we can connect to today with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and other people like that. We have all sorts of information on the internet, and we've been thinking about how to bring that into CRM in an easy way. And then we have all these different channels of interaction that are opening up. So there's a lot of complexity to it, but there's also a lot of opportunity for us as customers. So we basically believe we can bring social intelligence inside of CRM. We can help you connect to people more easily. We can help bring insight about those people directly into the CRM record, and we can do it in a way that maintains our sort of tenet around simplicity. We're starting on a journey with that. We have 2 things to share today, but it's going to continue and continue over the next few months. So let's switch to the demo, and I'll tell you about a couple of things. So the first one I want to talk about is a partnership that we have with LinkedIn. And obviously, I'm sure all of you use LinkedIn today. They're obviously the powerhouse of business networking with more than 150 million business contacts that we kind of go into and look at every day. And in my case, I'm interested in, let me just bring up the right screen here. I'm interested in a lead that we've had coming in. So my job, the sales manager thing didn't work out. I'm back in inside sales now. And I've got the lead coming in from the website. It's come into my queue, and I need to qualify that lead. I've opened up that lead, and I'm actually literally from within CRM looking at what LinkedIn can tell me about this particular lead before I actually go out and cold call them. Now, what we're showing here is we're showing some information from LinkedIn that's publicly available about Leon, and so that can help me prepare the call. It's obviously very useful, but we actually take it quite a step further. So here we have something called Team Link. And Team Link is a capability of the Sales Navigator offering that LinkedIn has as a premium service. And what this is showing me is that in my sales team, based on the company that I work at, there are actually people that have a connection with Leon. And if I want to, I can go ahead and ask one of them, my good friend Dennis here on the stage.
How can I help, man?
I can ask him for an introduction. And because he's in my organization, I can just directly email him and be able to get him to make that introduction on my behalf. We all know if he introduces me, providing they've actually got a good relationship, I've got more chance of having a successful outcome there. So also, down the bottom, it's showing that outside of my sales team, I have 19 other connections I could try and make that, that meeting through as well. And if I was to pick one of these people, it's going to take me through a different kind of experience because I don't necessarily have the email of this person. I might just be connected in LinkedIn. And so it's going to take me through the LinkedIn way of making that connection. But the key part is we're lighting up the 150 million contacts that exist in LinkedIn, bringing them into CRM, and making your network of relationships into a true business network that you can use each and every day. Now, that's only one half of what they do. They also have a full solution for company data as well, and that's integrated in here, but I don't have time to show it today. You can look for this solution from LinkedIn in our marketplace next month. So they're just putting the finishing touches on it, and they're about to release it into production. Now, the second thing I want to show you is another partner we have, which is Inside View. Some of you may be using Inside View today. They have a fantastic solution for bringing all sorts of social insights together in CRM, and we've worked with them for a very long time inside of our product. Two things that they're announcing today. One is an update to their existing service inside of CRM that adds some new features. I'll show you one of those. The second one is we actually formally announced a deep alliance between Inside View and Microsoft today that will lead us to bring Inside View capabilities in the box with CRM in a completely integrated and seamless way in our next release, and that will be available as an included part of that product that you do not have to pay an extra fee for. So we're bringing a lot of the power of Inside View directly into CRM in that next release. So let's just show you the sorts of things that Inside View does quickly. Inside View, a couple of new things they've added. This one's my favorite. You can pick any piece of news that they're bringing in about a company. Here I'm looking at my account, Microsoft, that I look after. And I can actually pick a piece of news and share it. And when I do that, what it actually does is it posts that to the activity wall that I have available for that particular account. So now anyone that's following that activity wall will actually receive that update, and I can provide additional comments, and you'll see the stream of things that are going on around that account.
So you could really build out this 360-degree view of an account, whether it be individuals, team selling, across the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I saw there's a lot of uses for this where you could pick something you think is interesting, and effectively you're pushing it out to everyone that deals with that account across sales, service, and marketing, so they get that coming in via their social feed, and they can choose to take action or be informed with what's going on at the account. So that's one cool thing they do. Another one is people. So they understand the people that exist in these companies, and they let you go out and find out more about them. So I have, for example, in here at Microsoft, I might be interested in checking out some of these senior vice president cats. Here's Chris Capicella, who is our chief marketing officer at Microsoft. And, I can see what he's up to in social networks. I can actually have connections with him if they're set up. I can correct information if it's wrong, all of that. But what I really love is the ability just to directly grab Chris's information and turn it into a lead or a contact inside of CRM.
Very nice.
So I can basically use that social insight to do my prospecting in a connected way, and also keep that up to date over time and match in company information as well. So just a quick look at what we're up to in R8, and then what's coming in the very near future in terms of additional social capability. Thanks for your time, and have a great Convergence.
Super. Thank you very much, Craig. I really appreciate it. So one of the things that I'm really fortunate to be able to work with persons like Craig. He's a part of the CRM team, and these kind of things I think are really important. They should resonate with you. You want to understand really, how do we actually get there? He's got some responsibility, a significant amount of responsibility, in fact, in the customer care, customer service, and call center arena for CRM. And routinely, the man simply immerses himself, just as everybody else in the team does, in day in the life. And so he gets himself out to our customer support centers, puts on a headset, and literally lives a shadow life to understand what do you do to be really effective in a complex support scenario? What tools are necessary? What behaviors are most efficient? How do you navigate all of the data coming at you and basically engaging with the customer through multiple channels? And it's that kind of thinking and that kind of walk in the boots of the customer that really is coming to life in the way we're imagining and reimagining CRM, both in the productivity sense and in terms of where we've got to go next. So that is altogether just a taste of how we're reimagining CRM. The idea that we have these big trends, and we've got a wonderful set of capabilities today, but we've got to bring the two together constantly. And it is a big, big goal, reimagining CRM. But again, going back to the perspective, right? If we can provide a new perspective of CRM for you, you can get a new perspective of customers, and they will in turn have a new perspective of you and your company. Now, that's all good, and hopefully you got a nice feel for some of the demo elements there and the way we've actually been developing and releasing, but we got one more treat for you in terms of how it actually is hitting the street in terms of a real customer scenario. So to that end, we got another special guest. We're actually going to ask them to show how they use CRM today. It's very briefly, but I think you're going to get a lot out of it. Will you really put your hands together? Nice warm round of applause for Matt Furlong from the New Belgium Brewery. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thanks
for joining us.
Absolutely.
How are you doing today?
Fantastic. How about you?
I'm really good, man.
Excellent.
I appreciate it. So I've really enjoyed getting to know about New Belgium Brewery. Tell us a little bit about the business today.
Absolutely. Started back in 1991. Founder and co-founder. Our founder was actually an electrical engineer, and our co-founder was a social worker. So
nice.
Definitely the very yin and yang for the business there.
All right.
We basically obviously been around now 20 years. We now have 420 employees and are still employee-owned and produce a heck of a lot of really good beer.
Well, absolutely. I will attest. One of the things that struck me that I think is important for everybody, because I think the more we really infuse this into what we're trying to get done with our customers, the better off we are. And you've shared over and again with me how New Belgium is a very values-based organization. Mm-hmm. Clearly, from the founders' perspectives, their values come together, but I mean, some of the more overt things, how do you drive the company along the values line?
You know, I think it's very important for us to come to the market in a very authentic way. You know, making sure that you know, the way I'm presenting myself in front of you right now is the exact same way I present myself in front of my customers, in front of my peers at the brewery. It's a very authentic organization. Exactly, absolutely. So I think, you know, having that in mind is it's a very important facet of our business, you know, to really come to market exactly as we are, and that's CRM is now actually helping us do that in a big way too.
So you got a new tool, you got a whole new way of getting out and working with the market. You mind showing us?
I would love to.
Cool. Let's light it up. So what exactly do we have on our hands here?
So this is our Samsung tablet running Windows 8, and here we're going to get logged in. And what we have, this application that we're using is actually called the Ultimate Beer Ranger application.
What's a beer ranger?
So a beer ranger, I'm actually a beer ranger. So a beer ranger is actually...
be a beer ranger.
I know. Anybody else?
We got a lot of conscriptions
out
here,
right?
man.
Taking resumes after the presentation. So a beer ranger essentially is out there. We work with all of our retailers out in the market, so folks who sell both in restaurants and bars our product, as well as grocery stores, liquor stores. We work with them on events, selling in the product, working with them on promotions, working with our consumers directly. So it's basically we're a jack of all trades.
You're out there engaging, creating that authentic discussion.
Absolutely.
Okay, I get it.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive right in.
You're selling.
Yes.
So you need tools to sell.
Absolutely. And this has definitely made our lives a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Ultimate Beer Ranger application here. So every Monday, I typically spend about half of my day planning out my week, looking to see who I'm going to go see, for my sales calls for the week. And basically, once they're all in the Ultimate Beer Ranger application, this is essentially what my schedule looks like for the week. You're going to notice the different icons next to each of these guys here, and there's one with a bottle, and then there's one with a glass. And essentially, what that's doing is using that imagery to determine what type of account that is. So my bars and restaurants have the glass associated with that, which you're consuming obviously at the bar or at the restaurant, whereas the bottle is something that you would go into a grocery store or liquor store and take it home with you. So it's a great way for us visually to be able to just look at this, see what I've got, literally on tap for the day, and what I'm going to be, who I'm going to see, and it's great. We've got our appointment times in there, and then of course we've also got the address there too. So if it's a place I haven't been to in a while, really simple to kind of see that. So let's dive right in. Let's take a look at an account here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Affy Tapple. So with this, on this account profile page here, it's got all of the important information I need at just a snapshot right when I walk into this account. So immediately right off the bat, you'll see over to the left, I have my contacts there, whoever that beer buyer is at that location. Also have the rank, their volume rank, as well as what their volume looks like. So if I walk in there and I'm like, hey, you guys did great, and I really don't know if they did great, and they're down 20%, I'm going to kind of look like a bozo. So definitely was one of those things that having that snapshot right when I come in there is super beneficial. Along with that,
before you go super deep,
sure.
I mean, I know there's more to share, but it really is just trim, right?
Yeah.
It's minimal, but to your point, it's what you need to have that discussion of where are you at, what do you need, what's next, how can I help?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very fluid. I love the way it really seems like you had the opportunity to think it through. You work with Sonoma partners. I mean,
yes.
I'm continually blown away at what our partners can do. We heard from Carla and her work with Power Objects, but your work with Sonoma really was thoughtful about what's a beer ranger need to do.
Absolutely.
And what information do they need, and keep it at that.
Definitely.
Hide the complexity.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So let me go ahead and dive right in. I'll show you guys a couple things here real quick on appointments. I mean, it's I'll basically have all of my previous appointments that I've already completed in that account. And if I want to go ahead and schedule a new one, just swipe up from the bottom here. Go ahead and click on it. Bam.
Nice.
Just go ahead and click on what time, when. We'll just go ahead and do it for right now. Save that appointment. It's automatically loaded in. Another big part of being a beer ranger for us is, of course, quality assurance. Anybody else want to come check quality at any bars? I know some places around here we can do that tonight, but no, truthfully, that's a very serious part of our job. And for us, making sure that our beer in Houston tastes the same as it does in Fort Collins, it's a very very serious thing as well. So by clicking on those QA surveys, again, same kind of concept, driving into that, making sure, like I said, that everything looks good in there, from the dates, the rotation, the faucets are clean. Putting in those last 3 line cleaning dates, making sure they're cleaned when they're supposed to. That's it. And then hitting the comments. I'm going to go ahead and complete that.
Do you ever do this with the customer? Sit there and interactively?
I on occasion, absolutely. And I think that's a huge added value that New Belgium Beer Rangers actually have, that we add to those accounts and to those customers.
You're educating just as much as
absolutely.
You're selling, right?
So being able to walk into an account and talk about quality and say, hey, this is important. It's important that your beer tastes exactly the way we want it to taste. I mean, if it's not tasting that way, it's not true to brand for us. So that's something that's extremely beneficial. Our customers appreciate that as well.
I get it.
One other cool feature, if we still have a little time, I'd love to show you here. This down at the bottom. So let's say you're in this Affy Tapple account, and you want to see some other accounts in the area since you got a little extra time in the day. Go ahead and hit the Around feature, and this will actually show accounts that we have marked in the area that are whether they're on-premise, off-premise, that we can go ahead and visit while we're in the
because things can be pretty fluid.
Absolutely,
right? You got to make the most out of your day while you're there.
Definitely, and especially with an application like this that moves as quickly as it does and allows you to do things on the fly like this. It gives you that extra time to hit those extra accounts.
That's fantastic. Hey, do you have something else?
I can. Let's see.
Yeah,
you know what other thing is actually pretty cool that this guy has is the search function that's native within the app. So you can actually search just within this specific application for an account. So if you were looking for anything in particular, you could type whatever account you want in there, and it'll actually pull that account up immediately right then and there. So like I said, if you get a call from your distributor sales rep saying, hey, go get a fat tire handle at this place, they're really interested in it, go sample them on it, see if we can get it in there. I mean, it's a great, it gives us the ability to go ahead and capitalize on those opportunities when they come up at the drop of a hat.
And you're just taking advantage of search that's native in Windows 8.
Absolutely.
But it's plowing into CRM data.
Exactly.
Very cool. First, I'd like a beer, and second, I'd like this application. I mean, it's so cool. It's elegant, but it's to the point. It's helping fuel how you're going to do a better job out there.
Absolutely. I mean, I think for us, it's so important to keep the main thing. My job's to sell beer. It's not to, at the end of the day, it's not to have to, recap everything to my boss and all of that. This basically makes all of that much easier and allows me to do my job, which is, like I said, sell beer and make sure it tastes the way it's supposed to.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks
for making the
Appreciate
trip to be with us.
Absolutely.
Great job. When you're done selling beer, we might have to hire you to do demos, man. It's pretty good. So that kind of stuff truly gets me fired up. I mean, the fundamentals of that are think through the engagement with the customer. What tools do you need? Not overdo it. Trim it down and get busy. And I can't wait to see what comes next, and I can't wait to see what you do when you get your hands on something like this. And that really is what our challenge is together. When John F. Kennedy put the challenge to the United States to be the first to the moon, he was effectively changing the rules of the game of the Cold War. Russia was constantly surprising us with their actions, with their advances. And there was no way to know what was coming next. And so we had to change the game by putting a huge goal out there. And it was unbelievable. It was seen as almost impossible. But it was put out there nonetheless. And as I showed the footprint, I mean, the point is achievement is absolutely possible, and creating achievement through innovation is so important. But it's that perspective shift that I really want to focus on with you. What is your Earthrise? How are you going to change your customer's perspective of you? And how can we use a reimagined CRM together? I want to thank you for the time you've invested here. I've got one special treat left for you. If you're very serious at all about technology and how you're going to help change your company and how you're going to change your customer's experience, I'd like you to just take this video in. It's 5 minutes, but I promise it's 5 minutes well spent. And the idea is this: that huge investment that we pounded on in terms of R&D today, and the context that I gave you about where we're at in terms of spending in R&D, this is a testament about the direction we're going. It's absolutely a statement about the huge goals that we've got and where we want to see it come to life in your hands. Be well. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Benaderen die brandsteen Gilbucky Zone te skerp. Uw aandag alsjeblieft. Welcome to Johannesburg International Airport. Please approach the road to create your pickup zone.
We would like to thank you for attending today's session. Please fill out the eval form for this session so we know how we did.